You guys are good. Well, we are excited again that you are here, and I am so excited to watch God show off tonight. He has planned an awesome program for us, and we're going to kick it off right now with somebody that many of you may know, some of you may not. But I can tell you this much, you are in for a treat. You are in for a blessing. And God brought this woman into my life probably around June of this year. I have had the blessing to be able on Tuesday nights at ODPC to do a little message, a devotional, whatever you want to call it. I get to open my mouth and God speaks. And one of the people in the audience is Miss Pat Robinson. Pat's going to come and share with us. She is a writer, a poet, and I like to think of her as a woman who sits in still places and watches God push her pen. And tonight God has laid upon her heart something special that she has wrote just for us. And with that, I'd like to turn the floor over and like to ask you to give her your attention as God speaks through Miss Pat Robinson. Let's give her a big applause.
I don't know whether I can live up to that or not. No. Anyway, she said, my name is Pat Robinson. And I am a writer, and I write about life. They call me the light fellow. And I'll tell you a little bit about my yesterday. I don't want to spend too much time in yesterday. But in order for you to understand where I'm coming from today, I have to give you a little bit from back there. In 1999, I was arrested and put in prison. I had been a drug addict for 31 years, heroin addiction. And when I went into that prison, well, before I got into the prison, I had to go to court. The judge told me that he was going to give me 3 years, and if I came back, he was going to give me 10 years. So that meant I got to straighten up my act pretty quick, or else I'm going to go back for 10 years the next time. And of course, that put me on a journey that it's even hard to express how I changed from that day of being sentenced to 3 years, maybe 10, to a freedom that you just would not imagine. You know, anybody can be sober, anybody, and be sober from anything, but God promises us freedom. And that's what he gave me inside that prison cell with some of the worst prisoners in South Carolina. Susan Smith, all of them was right in that building with me. And I was in there with a little piddling 3 or 4 years, you know what I'm saying? And when they told me I was going into their cottage, I said to myself, I said, now why in the world would y'all be putting me in the Lifers cottage? That was the best place they could have put me. That was the best 3 years and a half I had spent until the day that I got out of that prison. The best 3.5 years. Now I'm going to push up to the day that I got out of prison. It was my day to get out. It was in December. And I was laying up there. It was about 5:30 in the morning. And something told me to turn on my radio. And I turned on the radio. And when I turned on the radio, it was a program on there about if you got problems with addiction or anything like that, take down this number and call me. I just did 3.5 years in prison. You know I didn't want that to be for me. I didn't want that number to be for me. And I sat there on that bed that morning and I said to myself, oh my God, now I promised you all of these things that I'm going to do. And then this man, this total stranger, this voice that walked into my life and told me well, it put me on a shaky ground. Put me on shaky ground, for real. And I was shaky from that time that I heard that telephone number until I got into the bus to go to the Greyhound bus. And when I got there, it was a car drove up with 3 ladies in it. Grandmother, mother, and daughter. The daughter was in the back of the car. And she looked like somebody had took a hickory stick and beat her half to death with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm clean. I'm sober. I'm standing up there. They came over to me. They said, well, what time did the bus come? And I told them. And so we waited around, and cars kept coming past the bus stop. And I kept saying to myself, now, if we don't get this girl off of this corner, because they wanted her to go to rehab, if we don't get her off of this corner soon, she gonna get one of them cars. Don't get one of them cars. I didn't have no money. They gave me a check when I left in there. And I thought, that's what that number's for. That number ain't for me. That number is for this young lady in this car right here. So I went over to her grandmother, and I told grandmother, I said, do you have a quarter? She said, yeah. I said, I'm gonna call this number that was on the radio this morning about a rehab and see if I can't get them to come and pick your daughter up. So I got on the phone and I talked to them. I didn't know these people. I didn't know what kind of car they were going to come in. They just said they were sending somebody. They didn't even know who they were sending. But all those cars, and they came past that bus stop that morning, when that car drove up, I knew it was that car. I knew that those people had came for that girl. And I knew that that number wasn't for me, you know. And when she got in the car and she was waving, I don't know how she felt, but I know how I feel. I tore the number up. Never have used another drug since that day. When I got on the bus that day, I was so high, just naturally being high. I wanted to tell somebody about what had happened to me. The bus was full of people. It wasn't nothing but about 5 or 6 people waiting with me. So I want to tell all these other people on the bus about this. You know, I mean to tell you, I'm about to spill over sitting in this chair where they're coming in with their, tickets and things. I said, I got to talk. So as soon as the bus got on its way, I started telling people about what had just happened to me and how God had taught me one of the biggest lessons that I'll never forget in my whole life. Today when I wake up in the morning and my feet hit the floor, I say, thank you. Thank you that I don't have an urge, an echoing, a desire to do any drugs. And I mean tell you, I was bad out there. I talk about how she looked like somebody beat with a hickory stick. Come on. I looked the same way when I walked in that jail. Just maybe a little bigger, because she used crack and I used heroin. That's the only thing. But life today is, people who ain't been through no struggle, and I know everybody go through struggle, different degrees of struggle. Everybody goes through it. But I'm talking about people who go through drug addiction and stuff like that. And when you see all your friends dying around you, and you're the only one standing, it makes you go back in your life and you think about that time when you were standing right here and the bullet went straight past you like that and killed the friend next to you. Or the day that I got hit by the car and pushed over this way, and when the car hit me and curved, it ran into a tree and almost killed the kid that was inside of it. And then you think about why he kept me. Why he kept me. And today I know why he kept me. So I can stand up here and I can write about you. I can write about anybody in this room. You know how? Because God gives me the words. They are not my words. I have had people come to me and tell me, say, how did you write that? Do you have cancer? No, ma'am. Do you have this? Do you have that? I said, well, I explain it like this. I had it when I wrote it. And once I got to the end and said it was over, I didn't have it anymore. I suffer when I write my poetry and I write my stories. I cry, I laugh, because I'm actually going through what I'm writing. And it was hard for me to pick 2 poems to read today. I wrote one just yesterday. I write thousands of them. Thousands. I have a couple of books out. And I let God lead me when I write. I was sick. I was walking in the store the other day, and some other guy was talking about not being embarrassed about the gifts that God gave me. I never said nothing to him. Never said nothing. All I did was reach in my pocket and got out a pencil. And I wrote this. God says, please don't apologize. God says, don't shy from his gifts. Don't stumble across your whats, whens, and ifs. There's a reason for each prize, because you are blessed. Please don't apologize. Don't apologize for the gifts God gives. Don't apologize for the blessed way we live. See, the prayers for us came from way back when, from the prayers of our ancestors, over and over, again and again. God says we should recognize the prayers that bless our lives. Many of those who prayed lived in poverty. So today, we can live abundantly. He doesn't want us to be ashamed. Reach out to others and share his name. Never be ashamed or apologize for the blessings in our lives. God says, be all you can be. Make faith visible for all sinners to see. And the more we reach and grow, the better, the brighter real faith will show. Because God wants us to share our truth, share the healing of your truth. Because Christians are the visible pieces of faith. Yours and my recovery is how God gives a sinner just a little taste. An angel here, a word there. It's how God makes a sinner aware. And over time, we will understand what God does to open our hearts to his dedication and love. Today I'm amazed what truth comes to my eyes. And God says he gives it freely. It's his gift. So please, don't apologize. That was a gift that he gave me when I met Kate. I was sitting up there in the OD church. And she was sitting in a wheelchair. Did you speak that day the first time? Did you? And when she spoke, I knew right then, I never turned away from what he tried to tell me. So I knew he wanted me to be her friend. I knew this. And I was determined to be her friend. I ain't pushy, you know. I ain't pushy. But hey, come on. All those years that I denied him, I'm not going to do that no more. So if you consider me pushy, what can I do? That's just my personality. That's just my personality. This one is called, I wrote this one a long time ago. Now why I want to read it, I have no idea. But, you know, usually something happens after I read it. And I know why I read it. It's called I Don't Want to Cry. I want to laugh. I don't want to cry. I want my life to be with hope, not wise. I want to look past the night and always see life's bright. I want to be somebody, not a wound or scab on society. I don't want to cry, live in darkness and never try. I want to laugh because laughter feels good. And live life the way I think life should. I want that kind of camaraderie that brings happiness for all to see. I want to be that star, that light who makes others fight. Fight for what God has promised us. Fight with a gentle, positive touch. Fight for my life as age comes into sight. I want to be me and do the best to shine bright for my community, because it is so easy to give up and not think of life as being much. And just because my life used to be doesn't mean my future is hard to see. God has given me a great gift, and life comes with whys and ifs. The ifs of life are just that, a tool to use hopefully before the fact. See, my life used to be about whys, and the real is, I don't want to cry. Life is too good to dread, and in life we need to get that through our heads. I am no longer scared to express my life. I'm a fighter, and God says it's my right to be who I am in this world. Know how to deal with my own emotional swirl. Knowing how to get it together. Not dwell on the stormy weather. And God has given me just that, the wisdom to deal with the facts. Today I keep my eyes to the sky and to the heavens as I realize I don't have to cry. Thank you.
Can y'all hear me without a mic? Yeah, I hear that.
Thank you.
All right, this is one of our fun parts. Remember, we always talk